Hey guys, Clyde here live at Leechburg Lights, doing another video here today. And today this video is on setting up a brand new XLights setup. If you've never used XLights before and you want to get started now, and you've already watched my getting started video, then guess what? I'm going to take you one prop at a time to go from just a house, just your individual house, and adding in some elements so that you can have a crazy awesome holiday light display, or just in general, if you just want to put some lights on your house, you don't have to animate, but you can control the colors. So guys, first of all, I do want to give a huge shout out to Jim Linke. He volunteered his house as a subject of our usage here. I'm going to call this the guinea pig here. So we're going to walk through and we're going to do this step by step. So what you see here in front of you, obviously this is his house, and what I've done is I've taken a moment to outline some of the elements, and I'm not going to get too much into house design, but rather just use the experience I've had and throw some elements on here that will look good whenever you do begin sequencing. So first of all, I have listed in Excel here, I made this little chart out, and basically I'm just mapping out where I want things to go. So if I have 230 channel controllers, and the first one here with the first output, and I want to have, let's say, one controller up here on the roof. Let's say I hide it over here on the left hand side of this, or the right hand side of this roof here, and I only run one individual extension cord up to that roof, and then from there I can run all of my extensions out to my props and so forth. So let's say here I want to do the upper roof. I'm going to consider this peak up here all the way up to the top there. Let's say that's one channel. Now let's go to the lower left roof outline. So let's say I want to outline this entire roof here, and then we have the lower right outline, which is over here, 1, 2, those little pieces right there. Now we've got the attic window number 1 and attic window number 2, and let's say we put each one of those on their own channel. And then we've got the upstairs window. I've numbered these 1, 2, and then this is window number 3, 4, and 5. So these are the upstairs windows. And then let's say I want to put a Santa Claus on the roof. I want to put him over here, and I want to have a reindeer over here as well. So let's kind of get a little creative with things that we can do with the house. Then let's look at the downstairs. Now the downstairs, I have it set up for a downstairs window. I would plan to make all this one channel or one output on the controller. Next I have the front door, which would be the next thing in a line. And then the downstairs windows 7 and 8, I have this window and this window. So basic outline, basic kind of setup. And then what do I want to do with the grounds here? Well, I was thinking, well, if we only had 2 controllers, what if we just had a set of 6 mini trees, 3 on the left and 3 on the right? That would balance it out pretty well and make everything look kind of natural and formed. So that's the basics, and this is all we're going to do. Is we're just going to go in here and we're going to make some basic display items, display props, and set them up in XLights Nutcracker from start to finish. At this point, all we're going to do is we're going to go into a show directory. Now, I created a brand new show directory just for this. I have it's in my Dropbox under my backup sequencing. It's just an example. So I just created a brand new file folder, and that's all I have there. Now, the next step is setting up an E131 or a USB dongle in order to get to output my DMX from XLights into the DMX controllers. Now, many of you have also, and I'll link in the video here to the difference between dumb RGB and pixels video. That video shows the interface that's necessary to connect from XLights into either the dumb RGB controllers using the USB interface or an E131 device. So we're going to set this up using an E131 device. And to do that, we're going to just leave this set as multicast, and then we're going to leave our start universe as 1, and we're going to leave number of universes as 1. We'll leave the last channel alone. We'll leave it at 512 and click OK. Now what we've done is we've told XLights that we have one universe. There's 512 channels to play with, and it is in fact enabled. We're able to just go ahead and start mapping different things to this channel set listed right here, which is channel 1 through channel 512. So now let's go over to the Layout tab. I typically just go off of the picture that I used. In fact, I did this for my house as well. I just looked at the picture of my house and I created my display based on that setup. So I'm just going to periodically jump back and forth to creating this. Slide this over, because all we really need to know here is the display item and what we're putting in there. And then I also, you'll notice I put a channel number here, output number 1, 2, 3. And then at the end, if I scroll over here in this column, you can see my start channel and my end channel. So whenever I'm creating my setup for my props, this is where I'm going to go to reference the channel numbers for that prop specifically. So let's scroll back over. We're going to go to the upper roof line. Now, the upper roof line seems to have two main lines, an up and a down. What we're going to do is we're going to come over in XLights and we're going to click on models and we're going to create a new model. We're going to do a lot of creating new models. We're going to call this upper roof left. And then we're going to change this to a single line, and we're going to change this to 3-channel RGB. Anytime you're going to set up a dumb RGB prop on your display, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to set it up as an individual prop with a 3-channel RGB. So we'll leave actual number of strings as is. Now, if I wanted to get picky or particular, I could get out there on my roof and I could physically put my RGBs up on the roof and figure out how many lines are on the roof. No problem. But at this point I don't know, because I can't get up on my roof and I can't figure out. So we're just going to guess. We're going to say it's 50. It doesn't matter. This number is insignificant whenever it comes to 3-channel RGB. Now, the other important thing that is not insignificant is the channel number. So we know that our upper roof is our first channel, our start channel here in Excel. It's our first channel. So we're going to leave this start channel as number 1, and we're going to refer back to this spreadsheet to give us our channel every once in a while. So looking back here at the photo, we can see that we have from left to right. We're gonna leave this set to bottom left, and it really doesn't matter. This is meant more for having a pixel string versus a dumb RGB string. And I'm going to make sure that the box is checked here that says part of my display. Whenever I hit OK and click OK again, I now have a string, individual single line string. Now you can notice that there's a couple different options here. What you can do here is you can actually turn and spin this. And now if I have this open over here, let's go ahead and make this a little smaller so we can reference it a little easier and move it over. We can see that our peak goes from up here, or from down here to up in the center. And let's not take up the whole screen with this, so let's just make it smaller. And now we can click on it and move it. So here's the top part of my house. Now, because XLights is awesome, and we're going to continue with one string up and down, we're going to copy this exact model, and we're going to change the name of it from left to right. And we'll leave all the same data the same. We'll just click OK. And click OK again, and when we do that, we get another model. Now, notice if I open this up, for those of you who know, over here you have a start channel listed and an end channel. Notice that the two models I created, they have the exact same channel number. So I'm going to again modify these, and then I'm going to take this little thing here, click on this, and I'm going to spin it this way. And let's try and make it a little bit more congruent with the other one. And I think that looks pretty good. So then we've got some windows here. We've got a smaller window, and then we've got two larger windows. Let's go and look at our plan here. We have the upper roof outline. We have the lower roof outline on the left. Okay, so we're not doing the windows first. We're going to do this roof outline here. So to do this roof outline, we're going to estimate that, let's see, here's the center of the roof, and we can come over just a little bit, and we've got this left edge line here. So why don't we go ahead and make that? Let's go to Models, create a new model, and we'll call this 1 because there's going to be multiples. Now we're using a single strand here, and we're going to change it to 3-channel RGB. Now we know, just looking at this other model, the upper roof, we already used channel 1 through 3. We're going to start at channel 4. And the reason we know this is because if we look at our Excel setup, the lower left roof outline is going to start at channel 4, run through 4, 5, and 6. So once this is done, click OK. And click OK. And now we have, as per our photo, we have one line, and we're going to go ahead and create 2 more lines, this one here and this diagonal here. So we're just going to click on Models, and we're going to copy, and we're going to change the number here from left 1 to left 2 and click OK. We're going to click on this one again, this left 2 we just made. Whoops, not modify, we're going to copy. And we're going to change that number to left 3. Okay, so now it doesn't matter. There's 3 models here. If we click on there, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 models, and as you can see, it doesn't matter what order they're in, 1, 2, 3. What matters is they have the same channel number. So when we set a prop in Excel or in when we turn on a channel in XLights, then what will happen is that channel will pop on all 3 of these individual strings. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the right side, which, as you can guess, is going to be just as simple. We're going to start maybe a little bit up over here and go left and up a little bit, and that will signify our left and up a little bit there for the roof. So we'll go to Models, we'll create a new model. We'll call this Lower Right Roof 1. Change this to single line, RGB 3-channel, and click OK. Oh no, we got to change our channel. So what's our start channel? So we come over here and we reference our start channel, and it is 7. So we'll come in here, start channel is 7. Now we'll click OK and click OK again. We have a new string there. Let's go ahead and copy that string because we've got, whoop, how about we select it first? Lower roof right 1, copy. And we'll change that to lower roof 2. So now we have 2 identical copies. We'll do the same thing here. Okay, so here we go. We've got pretty much a basic likeness of my roof outline here. Next, looking at our Excel spreadsheet, we have our first 3 channels done. Next is our attic window 1 and attic window 2. So let's go into Models. Now, here's another thing to do. Once you get on a roll here and you know that what your last channel is, especially for dumb RGB, this is really helpful. Just look at the end channel here, number 9. You don't have to keep referring back here to your main page like I've done and see that I have to start at 10. You'll just know you start at 10 because that was the last thing you left off at. So we'll go into Models and we're going to create a new model, and we're going to call this Window 1. We'll call this a window frame. So nothing challenging there. Change this to 3 channels, and we'll leave it. We're going to have to do some work with the window frame. It says number of RGBs on the top. We'll call this number of RGBs. We'll call this 10, and we'll call each side 15, and we'll call on the bottom 10. So we have a start channel. What did we say our start channel was? Number 10. And we'll leave this as part of my display. We'll click OK. And now we have a window. So now we'll go ahead and we'll go to models and we'll go to window 1 and we'll copy this model. Now, because I know that we used number 10 through 12, I'm going to change this to 13 and I'm going to change this to window 2. I'm going to leave everything else identical to this, and then I'm going to go to that one that I just created and I'm going to copy it again. I'm going to copy this and make it 3, and I'm going to leave all this alone. The only difference is I'm going to change the start number to 16. Now what I just did there, so you're not confused, is I just created 2 window frames. So you can see 2 window frames. If I click on number 2, there's number 2. Actually, I kind of made a boo-boo. I wanted to do the attic windows first. So let's go back and fix that. And now we'll go ahead, since this is window, let's go back to our Excel sheet here. Attic window 1 and 2, upstairs window 3, 4, and 5. Let's go ahead and make those now. So that's just a matter of taking this one, window 3, and copying it. So window 3, copy. We'll make it window 4. We'll change the end channel number to the next beginning, which is 19. And we'll click OK. And we'll copy window number 4 and make it window number 5. And the new end channel is 21. We'll change this to 22. And we'll click OK. We've got our new models in there now. And that should look good. So next we've got our whole upstairs roof almost done. The only thing we have left is Santa Claus on the roof. Well, how do you do Santa Claus on the roof? Let's go to models. And one of my favorite models is a custom model. Now I know everybody's going to say, well, how do you represent Santa Claus on the roof? Well, let's just change this to custom, and let's make the model with, let's say 8, and we'll say the height is 10. Well, let's make it 12. Whoops, didn't mean to hit enter there. And now we need to know our start channel. So if we look down here in the preview window, we have this 24. I know that my next one is going to be 25. But over here, when we create a custom model, in order to tell XLights that we need a 1-channel prop in here, we need to enter a number. So you see how it says start channel is 25, end channel 24. As soon as we put a number in here, this should fix our little boo-boo there where that doesn't appear right. So I'm going to make I'm going to put the number 1 in here and see how that changed, 25 to 27. I'm going to make a little let's see, stick figure that will represent our Santa Claus. And let's go ahead and throw Santa Claus on the roof, and we've done it. So it's pretty easy to go into XLights and create these models. So here we've got Santa. I'm going to go ahead and copy Santa because I'm going to make the reindeer the exact same way. And there's our little reindeer. So it's very simple to create basic shapes, and you always use the number 1 there whenever you're creating the model. That signifies in the model that when you're creating these and oh, I didn't change the name. I just left them as a copy. Here's an example of I made a boo-boo, and I need to go in and let's go ahead and rename the name of the model. We'll call this reindeer and click OK. So now we've got our 2 models for on the roof here, and half of our display is complete. So the next step is to fill in the rest of our models or props into XLights for the downstairs display. So we're going to start with channel 31 here. We're going to do the downstairs window. Let's bring up the picture. And we're going to make 3 windows, all using the same start channel, which is 31. We'll go into models and we'll create a new model. We'll actually don't need to create a new model. Let's go to window number 5 and we'll copy it because it's not much different. Let's just go and change this to 6 because I think that's what we labeled it as, Windows downstairs Windows 6, and we'll make 3 copies of this. Windows 6A, I'm going to call it A, and we're going to leave all this stuff alone except for this. We're going to change this to 31 because that's where it starts in our DMX channel. We're going to click OK, then we're going to copy. We can now do our front door, which you have 2 choices here. You can make a custom model, or you can just represent the front door by making another, by representing the door by making another copy of a window. Okay, let's go ahead and press on. We've got our front door done. Now we need 2 more downstairs windows, and we need them to start at channel 37. Next is we need 6 mini trees. Okay, so everybody always asks me, well, how do I make a mini tree? Well, this once again is a very simple prop. We can go into models. Now you can create a new model, and what they don't have is they don't have a model that that calls on an actual physical tree to come up. So like there's no triangle or anything. So what you have to do is you have to create a custom model. So we'll go ahead and we'll do this very simply. We'll do this with a let's call it a width of 8, and let's go 10. I think that's all I'll need. Actually, it's a height, width is a 9, and we'll go with 10. And like we've done with so many other models, we're going to copy this. We're actually going to go in. I don't think I set the channel to the correct tree mini. Yeah, I didn't set the channel correctly. So let's go do that. Mini tree number 1 is start channel 43. So let's go over here and change the start channel to 43. So now that's done. Let's go ahead and copy this model 6 more times. Let's look at the dimensions. Dimension is 3 by 8. So you can see that we've got ourselves a nice, simple, and very easy to create XLights setup with using just 20 outputs of dumb RGB. And now pretty much the last thing that we have to do is we need to click save. And I should have mentioned this earlier. Make sure you click save often throughout. That way if XLights should happen to crash, or you close out accidentally and you don't have it saved, now you have this saved. Now let's go in to the file directory in let's go into the file directory in my Dropbox. So this is the actual directory where we're saving things. We have a key bindings file, and then we also have an XLights RGB effects file. This RGB effects file saves every bit of the data that's listed right here on this screen. Okay? So anytime you need to save data on this screen, you have to come over here to the layout tab and save it. So if I move this and I put a tree on top of the roof here, let's say I do that, then it's going to look, it's got to be saved, or if I close out, this will reappear where it was located before. Likewise, if you do a lot of prop adding, that also becomes problematic if you don't click the save button and you do happen to have to close out of it and so forth. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Like I said, there is a way to go ahead and add an image. You can always pull in an image, I suppose. But like I said, I really don't need it. It's not something that's necessary for me to make out a display for, but I do need the visual reference just to help me get going. So guys, that's all for this video. I hope it's helpful. We'll go on. We'll start another video after this and go into doing a little bit of a prop setup